Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the League of Inches podcast, Supercoach edition. It's a Supercoach round 23 review. And geez, the rounds are flying by now. We're at the real run home, and just a matter of, I think, 4 games left, which is remarkable. And for a Supercoach point of view, in draft and head to head, we've just finished our week 1 of finals, which has been either a really good thing or a really bad thing. There's some players that could be knocked out in comps. There could be some players that have earned a well-earned week off. There's some just clinging on to life. And I feel like I'm clinging on to life in a way. I got absolutely bashed on the weekend after finishing quite well in a lot of my head-to-heads in draft league. Top of the compliment on the League of Inches draft, and versus the guy who I'll introduce, Jesse, my co-host, and he pulled my pants down on a Sunday afternoon, and I've got pole driven in 2 games. So Sunday afternoon, normally it's a Sunday fun day. For me, it was a Sunday absolute shellacking day. So put some other words in there, please. I'm trying to be a bit appropriate, but yeah, I got absolutely raped. So Jesse, thanks for that. Thanks for Farnworth. Thanks to Ponga. I really appreciate you guys being in the comp and having field days on a great Sunday afternoon. How are you feeling? I know how you're good after the win, but how's your heads as well?
That like the drafts now I'm all focused into. I lost one draft. I come fourth. Actually, I come fourth in both my drafts, so I've got a week off in one, which against you, obviously massive. Killed you tonight. Just absolutely buried you. So yeah, inch at a time, getting fingered inch at a time, more like it. So you just got murdered. Herbie and Ponga. I don't often get a good, Sunday afternoon. It's traditionally Sunday afternoons are quite a killer for me, but I'll take that one home. So very
You
happy
know
about
what
that.
makes it worse? Did you always have Herbie?
Yeah, I drafted him.
It must be in another comp, because in another comp I actually had Herbie and I got rid of him because of his big injury. But that was
Oh
before I
no,
really knew what was going on. So I was
no,
just making
no.
sure that wasn't this one, because that would have really stung if you picked him up off the waivers and it was because I let go of him. But anyway.
No, actually, I'm pretty sure I drafted him. I wasn't super early, maybe like a 6th round or 4th round sort of area, but I definitely wanted him this year. So he's obviously paid well when I needed him. So I'll take that. In the head-to-heads for Classic, I got a win in the Podmasters overall. I think I got another one in the Seed One for Podmasters too. So 2 big ones, pretty good. But when it comes to the Creator Cup, finished fourth. I've matched up against Sav's Supercoach Experience, so who won it too. I think he finished first that in the Creators Cup. So I played him and I lost by 50, but I would have beaten almost everyone else. And I also played him again in the $50 cash comp. So obviously I can't win against him in one or the other. So I lost. I'm knocked
He's
out of
got
that
you.
one now. Yeah, he got me in that. So I think I'm out of that one entirely. But I'll have to win Creators Cup the hard way. I play next week. So
Shout out to Savs. You're basically his bitch. Let's just say that out there now, because the funny stat is you have not beaten the Savs all year. In what have you probably matched up with him 5 or 6 times now, and just
in
between the
between
2 comps that you're in, it's
yeah.
you can't get him.
No, I'd have to go back and confirm it, but I'm pretty certain I haven't actually got a win over him this year in 2 head-to-head comps. So yeah, it's a bit annoying, especially when there's people winning with like 760 in that comp. It's just unbelievable. Um, but yeah, it is what it is. We'll get him next time.
Yeah, no, it's not good at all. I mean, only some of us can beat Savs in a head-to-head game. So I'll teach my ways soon, Jesse. When
Yeah,
it doesn't hurt me, you
get
probably
the
end up versing me at some point.
I'll,
So this will be
I'll get the
fun.
snipers out into the grandstands and just take his players out. That's all I can
We
do.
just to let everyone know as well, we are recording this a day earlier, so not everything has been organized and locked into play when it comes to scores, etc. So everything we tell you will just be what it is of now. What Sunday? It's about 8:30 p.m. for us. So whatever has been locked in is locked in. If things change, it might change. But for now, for me, just looking at my score, so 1,121 for this weekend. It's been a bad one. I decided not to do some trades to save 2 in my purse or in my wallet for the run home the last 4 weeks, and it's bit me on the ass because every other week so far I've done at least one trade and scoring really, really well. So, but the good thing is I've got no Broncos in my team for next week and only one Cowboy so far. So the next couple of games should be pretty strong for me. What about your score, Jesse?
Currently sitting on 1290. so it was good. I made 2 trades this week. It leaves me with 1. I needed to do some big balls plays, as you like to put it. Obviously, I copped an absolute ear bashing last week, not making some, attacking trades, but I set up for this week and it worked out really well. So, yeah, 1290. Surely the rescores put me in the 1300s. I should be seeing some good green this week. Fingers crossed. So,
Boof, all the way up. The late charge here by Jesse. Tune in. How many trains you got left? You got 2 left?
1.
Oh,
Last.
look out. How much cash do
Yeah,
you have?
62 and a half.
Oh, so it's going to be pretty much like for like.
Yeah, it'll
There's not
just
going
be
to be
emergency
anything.
use only. I've got coverage everywhere. The only position that I don't is for Damien Cook if anything's to happen.
Yeah.
I don't have another hooker, so that's kind of where I'm sitting. That I'm sort of allocated it to my hooker slot because everything else looks fine. And if I do lose someone, I should have enough to just get by either way. But that's the only position that I'm like, oh shit. Hopefully nothing bad happens here. So yeah, one
And
trade.
just to put into perspective, obviously last year you finished just near that top 10, very, very close to it. How many trades did you have this time last year? Can you remember?
I think I might have been out of trades by this time, or at least
Okay,
from
so
this
it's
week.
similar.
At
You're
least
going
this
all in.
week. Yeah. I had a you know what, my team last year, looking at this one now, my depth last year was insane. I could have fielded my whole bench and made that a full first team. It was wild. I just went hard and things just really worked out for me last year. I think I was quite lucky. I didn't have injuries. I was able to sell at the peak, and I thought, yeah, I'll take the cash, and then went to someone else, and then rode them up, and everything kind of just went how you want it to go in Supercoach.
Yeah.
This year hasn't been as kind in that sense, but um, yeah, out of trades at the same amount of time. And same thing last year too. I even said it going into this year. I need to have trades for the last couple of rounds because so much changes. I didn't make it. I didn't get there. So it
It's all
is.
good.
Yeah, it should be
It's all
fine.
good, son. It's all good.
Next year, I'll save trades
Let
next year. No, I won't.
yeah.
It's never gonna happen.
The amount of people that have already messaged the page looking forward to next year, whether it's draft, whether it's ridiculous. So, guys, we've still got 4 weeks to go. Just let's relax, and we've got a bit of an off season. Hopefully, relax and enjoy a few weeks off, and then get back into it with some preseason content. But let's get straight into the round review side of things. The first game, the Melbourne Storm, too good for the Bunnies, 28 points to 16. In a low scoring affair in terms of super coaches, like the top score was an 87, which was Nick Meaney. Next was Cam Murray with an 86, and then Will Warbrick an 82 as well. So not a lot in terms of scores here. In terms of an actual NRL talk thing, and I raised this I think after the game as well in a post. It sort of looked like Cam Munster and Jerome Hughes got in the way of each other a little bit. It just seemed like I know it was their first game back together for quite some time, and their first game for the 1, 6, 7, and 9 together. But it just looked like everyone was sort of out of sync in a way. And it was just, I know they won't be wanting to hit their straps now and work towards it, but it was a little bit concerning. And it obviously paid off here, or didn't pay off actually in Supercoach with Pappenhausen, the high scorer, with a 70, Hughes 66, Munster a 49, and then Harry Grant, who copped a huge downgrade as well, 39. So what do you
Massive.
make of this game, and what do you make of that spine? Because I feel like now Munster's back. We'll probably talk about this more on the tradies and stuff, but Jerome Hughes, it looks just like, oh, I gave him a chance this week. 66, not bad. Just more the eye test. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a bit of the eye test sort of thing, isn't it? Because you look at the side in general and you think on paper, they've got everything they need to, but combinations this year have been formed in a different way for the
Mm.
success of Melbourne. Like, they've seen great success with Wishart and even Farlongo at fullback too. Where now like they get their optimal spine back, but at the same time, it's like, okay, you've got your 4 main guys, 2 of them are running out injured. So, like, at what cost? You know what I mean? Like, Wishart's been a gun. Even off the bench that game, he was better than everyone else in that side. Um, Pretty much one of the best performers, I reckon, for Melbourne in that game, and he came off the bench for it. You can't bench him for Munster now that Munster's actually back, though. So,
Mm.
and that's the thing, it's kind of going to shoot him in the foot. I remember a few years ago when Pap got injured big time and he come back when Nico Hines was killing it. like killing it for Melbourne. He thought there's no way these two can play together. Like you kind of have to leave it as it is. But then of course you have to play Pap because he's back. And then they started playing him, switching him 40 minutes here and there, and it cost the side at the end of the day. So
Yeah.
it's a hard one because they got their best boys back, but yeah, I don't know. It's a bit of a tricky one, and they didn't really, they didn't really look great. They got the win, but they had to work for it. And against the Bunnies, like you wouldn't expect much of a contest there. So low scoring super coach affair in general. I think that's kind of where it's sort of come down to. But it was that sort of game. No one was really standing out points wise. No one was putting the team on their back. But yeah, they got the win. They've been doing that all year. So if they can find if in the next 4 weeks, like I don't think they're in a position to be resting in round 26 like everyone says they are. Like the players that they're going to rest, they've had enough of a rest. Katoa not being there kind of sucked for him. I just can't see them unless it's injury related again. Like they need to continue to build this, and it's the same four that they've run with for years too. So like between the halves, between Harry Grant and Pap, you wouldn't expect them to have to gel again. But when you've got Anderson, Jack Howarth, these other new guys in the side, and they're all doing their own, like they're doing quite well in that combination that they've already set up. When you go and change the spine all of a sudden, it's these other guys, they get costed too. Like,
Yeah.
they're not killing it. So I think when it comes to just the premiership, it makes Penrith even stronger because they're the only ones that can
Scary.
really combat them. So,
It's it's a
but
it's a scary
yeah,
one. What about the Rabbitohs? Firstly, Murray, can you stop scoring so well? Because I really
I
have you
know.
on my list for next year. Talking about next year, um,
You
please, I
keep,
want to get you on a decent price because you're one of the first I want to pick next year. Um, Kalamatangi at 34, really disappointing. I feel like in a way, and this is my point about the Bunnies moving forward for this next month of football. I feel like you get off as many South players as you can in your team because they're in an awkward spot now on the table. They're basically in no man's land. They're not going to come last. They're not a chance to make finals. It's just sort of like they gave Storm a go on the weekend, but weren't really ever in the game, if we're being honest. I felt
yeah,
like Storm were in control of it. The scoreline has a bit more respect to it than I felt like the performance was with the Bunnies. And yeah, I don't think if you have any of these South players and you can get them over to someone like maybe a Storm player that does have a decent run, or a Panthers player who has a very good run as well, and the like, then you potentially do that. There's a few teams at the moment, and you'll see with that post we put out each week, there's a couple of nice runs coming up for a few teams. So
mm,
get on the board of that with teams actually playing for things, and points and positions. For mine, the Rabbitohs will sort of get off now.
yeah, yeah. Well, they got nothing to play for now, so
Yeah.
you would have to expect them to take the foot off the pedal just naturally. You know what I mean? Like gear up for next year. Don't hurt yourself. Don't go ballistic. Don't be stupid. But yeah, like if you've got them and you're in a position where you can get off them trade wise, I'd probably advise it. Um, that's why I've got my one in the chamber for Damien Cook, just in case. But still, like there are some pretty solid mainstay performers, like consistent. Like Cook again, he's probably the one, 53.
Yeah.
He's bouncing
He's
between 50s and 100s most weeks. So
Yeah.
like that's not a bad thing in a pretty beaten side. But yeah, the 34 from Kalama-Tungi come out of nowhere. Um, did he get injured at all in that game?
I'm trying to think back. A lot of footballs happened on the weekend, but
I
I
know.
don't believe he did. I think it was
Yeah,
just a game where he
maybe just
just
yeah, just didn't
the
really
Storm were dominant. There was a lot of
happen.
defending, and he just I think a big month or so. He's been in the middle for some time now, and there's always been an edge. I think it's just caught up with him.
Mm. It must have, man. Because what did he play? Played 54 minutes and just didn't really do anything of what he's been doing for the last
Mm,
couple of months. So um, yeah, I can't say it's going to be something consistent out of him. But again, who knows? Like he could be in that same mindset as what we're saying right now. It's just like, well, what's the point?
yeah,
Why batter myself to death for nothing? So
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, no, that's it. Moving on. The Sharkies 44 thrashing the Titans to nil. Very, very surprising. Most out there tipped the Titans. So this is a weirdly enough a team in the top four is an upset in the world of tipsters. That's just the season it has been in the tipping world. Still, in saying that, it's a weird comment to make, but Supercoach scores were very odd. Like there's a couple of good scores, but there's nothing like wow. You don't look at it and go, holy crap. You'd expected a 44-0 scoreline.
Yeah.
There's like 130, 140 in there. The best score was a 96, second rower, Nakora. Iro, absolute machine. I remember saying a month or so ago, I wanted to actually get him in, and I know people would have called me crazy because I would have been paying almost top dollar, but the run for the Sharkies just looked so nice, and Iro's just performing. We always said he just needs a couple of those attacking stats, and he's finally getting it. So a
Yep.
94. Jackie Williams getting his start, 93. And Jesse Ramey, an 88. David Fafita, 65 for the Titans to headline that. But apart from that, there's nothing you want to look at. What are your thoughts around this one? Positives and negatives?
Yeah, I I tipped the Titans. Couldn't believe
Me
it.
too.
I was just like, surely, no, easy win. Easy win for the Titans here. The Sharks is a bit nowhere. Yeah, no, they got belted. The Supercoach scores don't reflect at all a 44-0 scoreline. But everything was very spread out too. Like everyone kind of had a piece of the pie. There was no one that ran away with it. Nakora, huge man, 96, like bloody hell. So there was a lot of hesitation around him too. People thinking there's no Nico Hines now. There's not even a Braden Trindle to worry about. So like he's not going to get any great quality ball. A try and an assist and a contribution, and then everything else that he did effort wise and base and power. The the bloke's an absolute gun. Like he's an absolute lock. And if you've got him in your side and you're hesitant about playing him for freaking whatever reason, even people in draft, my mate's got him in draft and he benched him. He's just like, oh, I don't feel it. I'm like it's
Yeah.
Nakora, man. Like far out. He's been an absolute S tier gun for 2 years. Kayliro, yeah, the attacking stats are just they're flowing now and they just don't stop. So
Yeah.
better than most and still at this price, like if he keeps doing what he's doing, man, he's still a bargain. He's been an absolute godsend this year. Um, but then you go through like Williams got himself a try, Jesse Ramey got a try and 2 assists, Hazelton a try, Rudolph a try, Sam Stonestreet. What a what a nice one that come out to be. If you sort of missed the boat on any of the cheapies that got price rises, he got his now. Um, it'll come through, but 3 tries and an assist, but to only end on 75 with a hat trick and
Yeah.
an assist is a bit like, you know, nothing else. Like he's pretty much done nothing else. But you'll take the hat trick. Like it's nothing to balk over.
He
Um,
was the one I was looking at him because I got him in for Supercoach just as sort of a depth player, and if I was ever desperate, it was awesome. I was thinking, oh goodness me, I've left like 120 on the bench. How embarrassing! And then I only seen him get a 75. I was like, oh, okay. Like
yeah,
it would have
like,
been nice to have still, but I was like, oh, yeah, okay.
yeah, it's not fun. Like it's nothing to really be too concerned about not playing for a 75. Ideally you want to, but still for that much attacking stat wise, you would expect at least 100 minimum. For anyone else, like it seems like you just put the ball down. Disappointing. Dave Fafita's a bit disappointing lately. You know what I mean? Like I've
Mm,
had him for a little while now, and you know what you get out of him, but it's been a hot minute since he's done anything pretty good. It's just been a lot of 60s and 70s and that sort of thing. Like it's not bad. Again, it's not bad, but 65 with no attacking stats, he could have got anything out of it if the ball ever went that way. Which it just Jaden Campbell does not give him the ball.
yeah.
That's pretty much what it is. JC does not like Fafita for whatever reason, and we are suffering. So, um, speaking of
Rumor mill, friction being in Titans camp between Fafita and Campbell. Rumor mill.
rumor mill, well, freaking hell, you got about 8 weeks sample size to look at. He doesn't pass
Yeah.
the ball to him. So, um, yeah, but Campbell again, 38. It's like I suppose if that's as bad as it's going to get out of him, there was no kicking for him to boost the points up, which do they do lift his floor because they didn't score any points. So there was nothing to make there. But again, 38 in a battered side, no points made. Like you kind of take that if you're looking at it in that sense.
Yeah.
Just hoping that it's not that kind of game every week. So they've been good. Like the points will definitely come for him. So just a pretty rough week. Jojo Fafita, obviously falling off from last week's efforts. Anyone on the right hand side, um, they kind of just didn't have it. But the highs and the lows. For the Sharks, yeah, there was a lot of good scores. Like nothing mind blowing because they were a very good side that week. They did really well, but nothing you can kind of really bank on too much. No one was super disappointing that anyone would own. In the draft side of things, your Will Kennedys, your Katoas, that's pretty bad. They got quite low ownership in Classic, so I wouldn't worry. But in a week for your head-to-heads, especially if you needed them this round, they did not deliver. So yeah, it kind of cost a lot. But yeah, low scoring for Supercoach considering the scoreline. So
Yeah. No, 100%. Next, the Friday, the Battle of the West. How Parramatta lost this, I will never know. 36 points to 34, the Penrith Panthers defeating the Eels.
oh man,
Pretty decent scores coming through for a Supercoach point of view. There was a few hundreds up there. Dane Laurie, 134. He's been scoring so well at fullback this year in replace of Dylan Edwards. And there's someone who has Dylan Edwards in one of his drafts, really needed it because I fell off an absolute cliff in that. Shout out to the finders keepers, because as soon as I lost Edwards, lost all my points. Brian Toe, 109. Wrapped, I got him in a couple of weeks ago as a weird point of difference, I guess, a bit of a pod player, but scoring so well. I think it was more price that people couldn't get him, and I just went all in. So sort of paid off there with a nice score. Tungo, for those that kept him, or there was some out there that did get him because Cleary was back, and they thought they'd probably wake him up a bit, and it kind of has in a way. He's scored like an 87. That's decent for Tungo. That was something that we would have loved to have at the start of the year. I think a lot of us did bring him in, and he started okay. He's now getting back to that sort of a form. And Nathan Cleary, I straight seed him in a horrible mistake on my behalf. An 86. Normally you go, yep, sweet, take that. Not when you captain him and you have Turbo with the V sitting on him, and you just realize you're absolutely stuffed up there. And Cleary played before Turbo. So, yeah, that was my Supercoach week in a nutshell. I'll tell you one thing, guys. Don't work away for a couple of days. It just messes with you. It's a joke. The King Gutho for the Eels, 107 points. And Sean Lane, I started with him this year, and I got rid of him about halfway through the year, and an 85. He scored a couple of nice ones lately. So, Shawnee Lane's finding some form at the back end of the year. Must be playing for a contract because there's rumours about him being shopped around. Jesse, talk to us about the Battle of the West here. Supercoach, there were some nice scores. There was also some scores where you go, feel them, but yeah. Shout out to Casey McLean with that, 21.
Shout out to Scott Sorensen for my draft side. Cost me 9 points. It's all I needed him to have an average game, and I win. But rip. Yeah, man, you can never count the Panthers out. Holy shit! What a game! What a last 5 minutes. Oh,
yuck.
Sometimes you do, yeah. Anyway, Supercoach.
Let's not talk about it. Move on, please.
We're here for Supercoach. Dane Laurie, 134, monster. Had great merit for this run with Edwards out, because he has been tunning up almost every game without him. So I think we did speak about him a little while ago on a couple of the pods. It was actually just trying to convince Trav to get him. But he didn't have the trades to kind of make the move, and it warranted, but again, wasn't meant to be. But yeah, you got in Toto, beast mode, man. He's killing it. I was doing some math this week trying to work out how to get him. I opted against it. I won't have Toto this year, but there's always next. Yeah, Cleary's 86, not ideal. Still, it's not a bad score. Better than most halves this week, but in the position that he played, it was definitely a VC if you were there for it. So, you can't take that. Going down the ranks, Luai's dropped off with Cleary back. It was kind of anticipated. It's a bit of a shame for draft owners, me out there. Luai's been really good this year, so yeah, it's just sort of going back to what he's used to. Casey McLean been a very popular trade in the last couple of weeks too. Probably could have been given an assist realistically. Going back and looking at it, didn't get anything for it. Or maybe a contribution, which he did. He got the try contribution, which still brings his score up from 17. It's pretty dismal. So yeah, not a great one there. For the Eels, Gutho went nuts. Really, really good. Just a big performance from him. Obviously couldn't ice it when he needed to, but I suppose it doesn't matter when you've got him in your side scoring 107. Who cares about the actual result? Sean Lane got a hefty upgrade. I think one of the assists actually got rescored to him. So he's had a couple good weeks. He got a 95 2 weeks ago, 50 last week. So he's kind of found what we were expecting from Lane, buying him at 400K.
Still sucks.
Yeah, still sucks, but scoring well. Russ, I wouldn't worry about. Blaze Talungi, 61, far out, man. He's still very consistent, still very reliable. Even if we have cashed out on him now at this point. Madison's 58, very consistent too. I think Dylan Brown's 54 is very generous, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Um, I
Yeah.
don't I don't see where he got any of those points that he was given, the line breaks and the assists and
Unicorn,
that kind
eh?
of thing. Dead set unicorn points as a whole. If you go and have a look at the NRL fantasy stats for him, they have him marked down at about a 20 or something because
Yeah.
it was just non-existent. Nothing came off him. But for Supercoach, everyone sort of has him, and they kind of reward the unicorn points out a bit better.
Will be
Going,
accusations there in NRL Supercoach. Don't
no,
come at
it's
us,
fine.
please.
You know what? And I'm saying this because I don't own him anymore. But if I did own him, I'd be saying, "Where's the rest of it?" It's funny how it works. Um, Going down, it's just all disappointing. You know, Cardi's still again not lighting the world up. 44. Penasini's still 38. It's quite low. Um, Jake Tungo, did he get sin bin again this week after scoring a try?
uh, no,
He broke his duck.
I don't think so.
He's been scoring a try and getting sin bin every game. So,
Yeah, no, I don't think you got the sim in this week. Just
well,
got
there you
good
go.
points.
The brothers, the brothers Tungo gets a tango with a couple of tries. It's a bit of fun. But yeah, man, not much else happening for that
Nah,
side of things.
not for now. Anyway, the next one up, Nation's capital, Manly beating the Raiders 46 points to 24. I'm going to declare it. I'm going to do it. It's time to declare Tom Turbo Trebojevic is officially back. And if you don't have him in Supercoach, you don't know how to play Supercoach. He's back in the biggest way possible. Seriously, we spoke off air, and no, not being disrespectful to him, but if we're to rate that in his top performances of all time, I don't think it's anywhere near the top. I don't think he was that good on the weekend. He just seemed to score when it was he scored. Obviously, scored a hat trick, but he wasn't like an old busy turbo self who used to get those scores by just being everywhere. It just seemed like he wasn't
Mm.
there, but he was there. It was so
Yeah,
weird. Luke Brooks, 114. He was back in a big way on the weekend as well. And it didn't really take away from Cherry Evans too much either because he's still got a 77. So for Cherry, that's not too bad if you did get him as a point of difference. You'd take that considering Cleary got an 86 and the price difference between the two's a fair whack. For the Raiders, Kyo Weeks, if you somehow still have him, maybe it was nice to have a duel or something. And 89, since he's gone to fullback, it's sort of been coming his position. So interesting what happens there. And Joe Tarpany, goodness me, front row forward, 87 points once again. Oh,
yeah, sin bin too.
shout yeah, yeah. Shout out to the 300 man or 301 man, I should say. Josh Papali'i got a 76. Now I thought I'd pull a sneaky one on Jesse here this week and going to the draft once again. I actually got him in because I had no Terrell May for this week and I had no other forwards. I was like, maybe for his 300, like his official 300th at home, he'll rise to the occasion and he crashed over early. And I'm thinking, here we go. This could be a juicy score. It ends up being a juicy
It
score,
could.
but Sunday just
Enough.
demolished me once again. So, what are your
Yeah.
thoughts around this one?
Yeah, man, Manly turned it up. It took them a little bit to get there, but they just, once the floodgates opened, they just couldn't really stop them. Um,
Yeah.
and then, yeah, like the Raiders kind of come through. Kyle Weeks 89 is huge. He's been really good at fullback. I know Ricky picks and changes and messes around with his side a lot, but I hope he does just keep him there because, like the Raiders play a good sort of brand of footy in a way. Like they don't really make the losses easy for the other side, even though they did get smacked. Um, they kind of put him to the sword a little bit. Joe Tarpany, 87 is massive. He was such a popular trade option this week too, with Payne Haas going down. I've had him for a while now too, and he did get binned. He could have been a very comfortable ton for him,
Yeah.
which is a shame because he lost a lot of points there. But Elliot Whitehead, 87 too. Like it's huge with a try, but Papali'i, Tom Starling's been a gun. I think next year Tom Starling is going to be a really, really good hooker option to start with because his average is still 33.9. Even though you go back and his last 5 round average is nearly 70. So it's wild that he's still averaging 33
Yeah.
because of all the really, really bad games for pretty much 2/3 of the season. So since he's actually started playing as the main hooker, he's got a 50 and 80, a 62, a 68, an 81, and now a 50. So very, very good guns going there.
Weird one
Going
for
below that,
Fogarty, 21. Just
yeah, I was going to say
yeah,
fell off. It's very
did not
uncharacteristic too,
exist.
because he's been very impressive since he returned from his injury,
Yeah.
and like
It
the
was
Raiders have
impressive
needed it.
before that as well. He's impressive at the start of the year.
Yeah, this is his worst game for a long time. So yeah, a bit shit. Hudson Young 50. I suppose it's all right. Didn't do a great deal again there. So like a lot of 50s, a lot of mid-tier scores. You kind of expect that considering they lost. But yeah, Manly, Jesus. Turbo 121. I was stressing not getting him in this week. So I don't have him. I went with the Ponga route. So I'm very happy at the end of the day. It worked out much better. How
Yeah, that's Supercoach.
overall for the next 4 weeks on average. What was that? Sorry.
Nothing.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Podcasters will pick that up.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to listen to this one back. It's like turn the volume up, little you coward. Yeah, no, for the next 4 weeks, we'll see who averages more. I would be banking Turbo most likely, considering they play the Tigers in 2 weeks. But he just keeps scoring, man. He's back. He's definitely back. He's not doing as much as you would expect from like an old school classic 21 Turbo, but he's still scoring just as well. So
Mm.
you take it. Very, very big game for Luke Brooks. He was killing it on that left hand side. He was running everything. So yeah, really good for him. Lehigh Hopewadi still 81. I got him in for my draft fullback slot this week because I lost Iongi, who was replacing, I don't know who else. I'm still waiting for Latrell to come back. So I've been playing fullback roulette with random wingers. And it worked out well this week, 81. So yeah, that was really good score for him. I don't know if he's still very heavily owned. I doubt it highly. Yeah, 3,000 people, 2%. Everyone jumped off, but the games that he plays, he scores really good. It's just
Yeah.
shame he's only a fullback. You don't really have the space there for him. Tanella Paseka, 72 with a try for everyone's 300K cash down option. So delivered, like he really delivered. It was huge. I picked him up in for the League of Inches draft too, but I didn't play him this week. So I think I might be promoting him next round. So 65 from Olakawatu, you'll take it as is. 62 from Garrick again. I didn't think Garrick did a great deal.
No.
Kind of just thought he was just doing his thing and racking 60 points up for nothing. But a lot of kicks, a lot of good kicks. So, that really does boost his floor up. Burbo 14 is really bad. Lockie Croker returned from a long, long stint off, 21 points. Quite bad as well. So not much going, but again, like when you've got Turbo firing, you just give it to him. You just let him run away with it.
Basically,
Um,
it's the
right.
Turbo show at the moment. So,
Yeah.
Jesse's favorite, another Queensland derby on the weekend. The Broncos demolishing the Cowboys 42 points to 18. Katoni Staggs was beast mode, 129 points. Corey Jensen, a 97. And Dean Mariner, an 89. Quick shout out to Reece Walsh as well on an 85. Started the game once again really well. I thought he was going to go off. That hand injury is really playing with him, and I thought we're going to see a quick stint here by Reece. He toughed it out, and he stayed busy. I thought he was going to tough it out and just sort of be there, but sort of just be there like that. That's sort of it. But he got involved, and it was a very good showing for Reece Walsh and a Carrigan, an 82 from Carrigan. Not bad either. You'll take that if you're an owner for sure. For the Cowboys, a top score of 69 basically just summed up their night. It wasn't a very good night in terms of the footy or being a Supercoach owner of any of these players.
Not great, is it? But we kind of knew the Cows were going to hit a wall eventually with the fixtures they had. Obviously, there was a lot of, you know, the last 2 weeks they've pulled the wool over our eyes thinking, shit, the Cows are red hot. And then they go and shit the bed right when you kind of need them. But um, there was no good scores that in the Cowboys team. Sorry, they're just like 69 from Felt isn't a lot. The 65 from Cotter you'll take because that's his base and he scores that every single week. So you're not going to go too far. But Drinkwater 49, very disappointing. 46 from Val Holmes is no good. 41 from Robson. 30 from Murray Talangi. 11 from Nanai. Like these are very well scoring players almost every week, and it just nothing happened. Nothing happened for him. But for the Broncos, yeah, 129 from Stags is massive. But man, I've had Stags in the past, not in Classic. I'd never be game enough to buy him. But very happy to roll a dice here and there for a draft round. Um, you're not going to get that often. I'd imagine he backs it up with a 30. That's the problem with Stags. So it's up
Yeah.
and down. 97 from
Damn, yeah, it was
Jensen's
good.
really big too. There's a fair few people that had Jensen as starting props um, at the beginning of the year just to rely on like a mid 40s to 50 plot along, but they all kind of got off him. And at this point, he has really boosted up since round 17. He's gotten a 71, a 54, a 67, a 69, couple of dudders, and then obviously come out with a 97. So he's definitely picked it up at the back end. Um, Reece Walsh 85 is pretty solid. He hasn't had a bad game in a while. Looking at where he's just going. Actually, I'm just going to have a quick check of Reece Walsh because I think when their run comes up now, like what did they have before? The 113, the 57, 78. It's not bad. Like you kind of take it, but again, like the fullbacks are all back. We saw what Ponga did this week, and we saw what Turbo did this week. What Teddy's been doing for a while. I still don't think there's any room for Walsh in anyone's sides. Because that 85 was with a lot of work, where
Yeah.
most of them will kind of just walk over an 85 quite comfortably, unless well, Drinkwater didn't, but they got smacked. Willison 72 is really solid. I did like the Willison move because obviously Haas is out now, and he could be really appealing from that point on.
Look,
Um,
it sounds weird to say, but I actually like the Drinkwater 49 more than I like the Reece Walsh 85. And I'll try
yeah,
and sell that to everyone because Cowboys got smashed. They only scored 3 tries. So there wasn't much attacking stats that Drinky could have got there, where the Broncos scored 42 points. So they had what, probably 7 odd tries with there. And I know he was injured, so we've got to play into a bit there. But still, like as you said, like we're seeing some of these elite fullbacks well into the hundreds now. It's getting to that time of year. It's just it's what we've always sort of said about Reece is that great player, quality player, but God, he needs to do some work to get to that 100 mark. Like if there was a game where he was getting 100 points, it was this one, and he still didn't do it.
yeah. Well, he scored. Well, he got 2 try assists and 2 try contributions, and
Mm,
scored what 35 more points than Drinkwater did with nothing.
yeah.
Um, yeah, the floor's just definitely far too low. Um, I'm not a big fan of it, but yeah, I don't really like either side to be fair at the moment. Like I don't have any of either of the two in my side anymore. I don't have any cows, I don't have any Broncos. I'm kind of fine
That's
with
right. You
it
need to be
too.
clean out. Like about
Yeah,
4 weeks ago, you need to be cowboy clean out.
I did. I think it was for the second buy round.
Yeah.
For round 16, I did that big boost mass exodus. I got rid of Cotter, Holmes, and Drinkwater.
Yeah, you had the 3 going. So
Yeah, flicked them all.
look
And
out.
it hasn't bitten me. Like obviously the Holmes last 2 weeks did, but overall hasn't really been too much of a concern. So
Yeah. Moving on to the next one, it was a great Sydney derby. It was the Dragons up against the Bulldogs. The Bulldogs winning it quite comfortably in the end, 28 points to 10. Shout out to the crowd out there. It was a great scenes from all reports. I know the week before that we had some incidences there with the Raiders fans, but from all reports, everyone was well behaved. It was a great atmosphere. Everyone was in a great mood, so it was good to see. The football was fantastic, but Supercoach scores we're okay.
mm,
Another one of those games where it just sort of was just okay. Like Lomax top score with an 80, so Lomax owners would have loved it. Um, but yeah, Matty Burton a 78. Luciano Leilua, probably more for a draft point of view. I don't think many have him in classic super coaches, a 79. And Bronson Sherry 78. The big talking points for mine. Obviously, stock standard Preston a 65. That's pretty much what you'll get week in, week out from Preston. And then he scores 1 or 2 more tries and he'll get you up to that 80, 90 point mark. So that's just sort of what he does. And kick hour 63, Carraz just stock standard 62 there as well. So some pretty stock standard sort of displays where you're not disappointed by it at all. It's
mm.
just one of those real tough, gritty sort of games of footy that for mine just looked like a finals game. It was great to watch.
Yeah, well, everyone pretty much across the board on both sides basically just hit their average.
Mm.
Um, they were just doing what was expected of them. Like Lomax got his 80. I bought him in this week. Very happy with that. Um, Jacob Little's been super impressive at hooker for a long time now. He's probably one of the most form hookers when you start looking at like Supercoach scoring wise in general. But he's not going to be cheap next year, unfortunately, because of all this. But he's been
He won't
very,
be
very
playing
solid.
next year.
Hey,
He won't be
he won't be
playing
playing.
next year.
Oh, because
They've got
Cook.
Damien Cook.
Oh, what a shame. They got to find
That'll
somewhere
be a
for him.
Cook will go in the centers.
Yeah, replacing Lomax.
Yeah,
Um, well, he's been kicking well, so there's your kicker. Don't worry about Val Holmes. Just put Damien Cook in the centers.
look out.
Um, yeah, Tyrell Sloan had a good game after a pretty impressive one last week. Jaden Sewer, 57. He's been solid. There was just a lot of solid scores going down. Ben Hunt, not very good, 36. Um, a few other players below him, not super relevant in general, but Kyle Flanagan, 44. Big old chomp out of Stephen Crichton's nose, I think.
Oh, rom bomb but chomp.
Just took it off. He'll be getting some sort of disciplinary action for that, I would imagine. Maybe from his dad,
Yeah, I
bit of a
do.
whipping.
I
So
think so, but at the same time, like Critter, what are you doing? Like, I love you, bro. Like, you've been
hey,
awesome. If you, what's the point of being in someone's face like that? Like,
yeah,
I don't condone the bite whatsoever, but seriously, he had like
yeah.
3 or 4 goes in his face just to like rough him up, and
It's had enough.
Flanagan looked like he just had enough and just went
Yeah, just
chomp.
no worries. Just take a big bite out of him. Yeah, well, yeah, Critter 32. Like he didn't do too much either. Reed Marnie 24 is not good. He's fallen off hard actually. Kind of out of
Shout out
nowhere.
to Trav.
Yeah, shout out to Giraffe. You've got him. You've been enjoying that ride. I almost got on too. I almost cashed out a Cook, and I was like, you know what? Marnie's been very good this year. He's not going to fall off. He has massively. Not nice. Connor Tracy 48. There's a lot of new owners that got Connor Tracy in the last couple of weeks. You take a 48. You wish it would be a bit better in a pretty much a winning side. Considering they won by 18 points over, but not much there. Sexton 55 is much better on last week. Curran 57, he's not injured. Supposedly he looked like he had that AC joint.
Yeah.
You take a 57 for him every day. Karaz got downgraded actually from 69. I was hoping he'd go up. Don't know why they took points off him, but
Yeah.
oh well, you should have just left him on 69. It would have been more fitting. But Matt Burton 78. That's the top scorer for the week, and Bronson Cherry obviously 78 as well. He's had a good couple of weeks, but Burton. Obviously, we've been talking about Burton for about a month now, being as underpriced as he is. He's definitely a
Yeah.
quality buy. Yeah, break even of 79. He scored 78, so pretty much expected. He's still very cheap. He's still 550 odd K. I'd be very happy to buy him in 573. Sorry, I'd still be very happy to buy him in at that price.
What's the dog's little run coming up? Can we see that quickly? I'll let me have a quick look.
Yeah. So the
So they've
next
got
game they've got the Finns.
oh,
They got the Dolphins. Then they have the Warriors. And so it goes Dolphins, Warriors, Manly, Cowboys.
Manly. Yeah, wow. They're a
So
legit chance to win all games.
they're a good shout, 100%.
And
I reckon they
Matt
win the
Burton's
next
a
two.
legit shot at being involved in pretty much everything that they do for the next 4 weeks.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
you
you
give me
sort
an
of,
idea. An early
they're pretty
trade here.
appealing. If you've got them, they've been stringing bloody wins together for a long time now. Like they've looked like such a good side. I'm just having a quick look back. So yeah, they lost to the Cowboys in round 20 by 2 points. But every other game around that, it's like a pretty convincing little win. So
Time for Jai
and
Gray
they
to
can,
go for me, and I'm thinking very early here, bit of a sneaky into tradies. Jai Gray to Matty Burton might be on the cards for me this week.
I think it's a great move.
Thank you.
I'd lock
Thank
that
you.
in. I'd already lock it in.
I've got games to play this week, so I've got to get me side looking good.
Yeah.
Anyway, just a quick one on Reed Marnie as well, guys. In the comments, please we're going to start getting a list ready, and this is probably going to be towards our end of season award show and a bit more of just a bit of a laugh show. But we've been seeing a Trav about this, and Reed Marnie, and he was in pretty much mine and Jesse's never again list from last year. And I think a lot of super coaches got stung by Reed over the last couple of years. Let us know a player that's in your super coach list as a never again. You're not going to go to that player ever again because you've just been stung. So it can be for this year, it can be for years going by. There's a little bit of a story behind it included as well. But go and let us know on the YouTube comments. Your player that you've just gone, never again, never ever again.
Who have you got?
Um,
Just as a sneaky one.
well, Reed was mine. From I think it was last year or the year before. I don't know. It was no, I think it was the year before when he went to the Dogs, and I was high up on him. Because I was one of the only Para fans actually had respect for him still, and just really wish we had him still. But so I was like, yeah, I'll have him, and he did nothing. I'm trying to think of the top of my head. Who else could be? Have you got one at the top of your head? While I think,
I got handfuls of them. I got
off
buckets.
you go. Start.
Cody Walker. God,
Yeah, I know Cody's
been
yours.
so
Yeah,
vocal about him. Dallin this year.
yeah.
Shit, get out of my side.
Actually,
Tupanua this
mine's
year too.
CNK. Mine's CNK because of just his head knock history. I always get very, very worried about having him, and he's always going to be injured or out. Like I just have been stung by him a couple of times. I just don't want to give myself the headache anymore.
Yeah, could throw Mulatalo in there.
Yeah, hot rocks and diamonds. You just don't want to deal with it.
But you get that
Too
with Rocks
much.
and Diamonds players too. Like you take the risk when you buy them. Dallin's in the exact same boat. You know what you're going to get when they don't score. You're going to get shit all. So you can't.
You're addicted to these rocks and diamonds.
Oh, I love my rocks, mate. They're everywhere. Just start throwing them at them. Just line them all up. Pelt them.
But yeah, if you do have any guys, just get in the comments. Let us know there. Next game up, first of the Sunday games. That's really, really looking forward to talking about these Sunday games. Dolphins 34, getting away with the win against the Warriors 32. That field goal was something next level. That was a great shot.
Wasn't it?
By Sean O'Sullivan. SOS. Yes, he saved the
Wow.
Dolphins season. All right. Goodness me, what a shot that was. I don't even want to talk about this game. Jesse, you can go. I actually am still hurting by it.
Perspective. I smacked him with Herbie Farnworth 128. Won a draft. Head to head, so it was really solid. But 128, man, he was everything. He was a beast. Has been very good all year when he's been playing. Obviously injured for a good chunk of it, but no, solid pod numbers. I think he's still obviously quite expensive. 615K. Well, he was this week. He'll be going up probably another 60K, maybe I would say, just off the price that he got. So puts him up, but still not too bad. Again, I don't like the Dolphins' run from there on. This was a very important win for them to get to keep a chance in the 8. But yeah, man, massive 128. Max Plath 98. He's just unstoppable. Max Plath. He's one player that I really wish I got on this year. Like I had every
So
opportunity to so many times, and I didn't do it for whatever reason. And I've been punished almost every week. Like he hasn't had a bad week this year, I don't think at all. Joe Cavarillo 97. He started to really pick it up. He's been very quiet for a long time. Had a pretty impressive start to the year and then just sort of fell off for a long time in the middle. And now in the last couple of weeks, he's really come back good. So a lot of good scores, man. 97 from him, Nicarima 91, Kafusi 85, like uncharacteristic of those last two to be scoring that much. Azarko 64, kind of plod along, get his average. Not too bad. Like you sort of I sold him a couple of weeks ago now, but yeah, 64. You'll sort of take it after that ankle roll too. A little bit of doubt around him. 51 from Pangai is good. 46 from Hammer. As soon as
just
Trav said that Hammer was a good option pod to buy in about 3-4 weeks, and he has been very bad. It's
he's
sorry to
been
anyone that
anything
did
but.
it.
He's
He's
been
sorry to
anything but.
anyone that took his advice and bought him in. Holy shit, he's just not there anymore. I don't know what it is. Isaiah Katoa,
He
22, like he hasn't. Sorry, go on.
he got the 123 against Penrith, but like apart from that, like after that, Titans 50, Roosters 39. It's just it's
Yeah,
not
they're not.
it's
It's
not
not
good.
it. No, not at all. Um, Katoa's a funny one. I feel like he does so much in the game,
Yeah.
and he has such a good game almost every week.
Doesn't get points.
He just doesn't get points. He just doesn't do enough. There's a few players that are like that, and he's obviously a big standout for him. The Warriors, man, Tamare Martin is inevitable. It's so annoying. It's so annoying. You know what? It'd be more annoying for owners because you just don't know. You think,
Yeah.
is it time to sell him? Like, is SJ's back? Let's sell him. SJ's gone next week. Tamari Martin's back, and then SJ's back again. You sell him. And now Tamari Martin's just going to see the year out and keep scoring hundreds. And if you've had him and you don't have him anymore, it's just a really bitter pill. But he's kind of the best thing the Warriors have at the moment. Barnett as well with an 80. He was on nothing for a good chunk. I was super worried about going into the beginning of the game because I had Barnett against you and he was doing nothing. I thought he got injured because he went off in about 16 odd minutes.
Penalty try my ass.
Yeah. What are your thoughts
It
on
was a
that?
penalty try.
It was.
It just summed my day up. I just
Yeah.
knew as soon as you got that, I was like, piss off.
Yeah, it's all over. I don't even need to see what Ponga does anymore. But it
No.
was a penalty try. It was warranted. And yeah, 80 points. Like that's what everyone's bought him in for. 80 points. So very good. Leotawa, 78. Um, said it a couple times. He's an absolute gun of a player. Could have had 2 as well, and he went off with a HIA, dropping the second one. So that could have been a very, very big score. Capel 71, you won't get that often, but 61 from Fanua Blake, kind of just in base, 61's sort of where you'll go. Take that. 55 from Egan is better than he has been in a while. 49 from Tuivasa Shek. Sort of average. 2 disappointing scores here. They have been for a little while. Nickel Klukstad's 42 and Dallin's 34. They're just not super relevant. If you can get off them, just do it. Do yourself a favor. It's not worth the headache. But big win, man. Big win for the Dolphins. Sean O'Sullivan's kick. Bloody hell, he iced that one. That was from so far out too.
Sensational.
You can give Chanel Harris. Sorry.
Tamari Martin, they have to play him for the rest of the year. I know Chanel and Harris DeVita has had his ups and downs, and the crowd everyone's behind him for stuff like missing the goals, and I get that. But every time this year I've watched the Warriors play, and whenever it's him and Tamari Martin playing, Tamari Martin shines, and he can play 5'8". So even if Sean Johnson comes back, surely like the rest of the season, like if I want to get some wins up for SJ to farewell him and that, sorry to say, but Tamari Martin for mine's the standout to partner SJ. Like SJ, let's be honest, SJ has not been good all year. He has not had a standout game yet. And at least if he still is continuing that form, at least Tamari Martin can stand up and control the side where Chanel can't do that.
No, but they have played together this year and they lost. I'm pretty sure they've lost every game they've partnered together. It's only been a handful of them. They don't play well together. And whether or not that's just SJ not playing well in general and the team suffering because of it, or Tamari Martin stepping back and letting SJ run the team like he's supposed to and the team suffering.
Yeah.
It could all just be on SJ. Like he just hasn't been fit and he's had his Achilles injury and he's been in and out so many times. Like they can't put the responsibility on him. But like Tamari Martin has definitely taken it in his stride and he's killing it this year. I take back everything I said about him beginning of the year. I was super doubtful he would even be at all relevant. I was expecting 20s every week, like sort of what we've seen from him in his career in the past. Like he's always been that kind of really, really low scoring, good little player in general, but not relevant for actual attack and stats. But this year, holy shit, man. It's like every single week he's doing something like that. So I reckon they have to. Obviously, it's only 4 weeks. You have to give SJ, give him his credit where it's due. Like he's been a legend for the club, but I think they might cop a loss every time he plays at the moment.
It's a bit like that. Keen to see what they can do next year. Last game of the round, Knights 34, Tigers 18. Kalen Ponga top scores 130 points. Awesome. Thanks. Fletcher Sharp, 119, a sensation on the wing. Goodness me. This kid can play. There is a number of teams I got no doubt already probably making some inquiries to give him the fullback spot at their club long term. But at the moment, even while he's playing wing for the Knights, and if you for some reason couldn't get rid of him, if the prices because he was so cheap didn't work to upgrade to someone as like a keeper as such, and you just thought you'd just stick with him. I'll tell you what, he's not a bad hold and play for the rest of the season. If they can keep that spot. Like if you look at the Knights' run, they obviously had the Tigers today. Then they got the Sharkies who can. I know on the weekend they didn't, but they can let in some points, especially out wide. South, the Titans, and then the Dolphins. So it's a great little run there. That's what I meant when I said it earlier, where some of these teams have some really hard runs coming up, and some of these teams have some really nice runs coming up. And the Knights are one of those. I know they're
Yeah.
technically in the fight for the eighth still. I don't think they'll get there, even with that nice run. But geez, with Ponga in a bit of form, these backs can do some things. And Sharp, I tell you what, you're not unhappy if you had to keep him. Frizzell an 83, nice little play there. Marju very very disappointing. A 37 with a on a day where Ponga was having a bit of a field day. They just went the other side all day. I was waiting for him to do something on Marju's side because I was thinking surely he's just going to go in untouched. Never happened. So that was
Yeah.
extremely disappointing because we all got onto Marju knowing that Ponga's coming back, and that generally means the Marju Ponga combination. And early on in that game, I did notice, like I think it was one of the Marju's first run was just that Ponga went over to his side, gave him the ball, and he ran real hard into the line, made a bit of a tackle bust and stuff. And I thought, oh, here we go. This could be one of those games today for Marju, and then just nothing happened.
Didn't
For the
happen.
Tigers, Lockie Galvin continues to score in a team that was beaten quite well, and especially on the Supercoach points as well. An 89, you will take that every day of the week.
Yeah, man. Well, I kept Galvin at the expense of Dylan Brown, thinking I want those games where you can kind of step up and get that higher ceiling. And this is the one week that it's actually paid off because the last two haven't. So no, I'm very, 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 very happy with the Galvin 89. But the biggest thing, man, traded in Ponga this week, chucked a C on him, like a lot of people did too. It was quite a common play this round, but everything was there. It was kind of written in the stars from a couple of weeks ago. Ponga for the Tigers game, bottomed out in price. Worthy captain shout and 130, man. Like, I love that. You take that.
I hate this
He
game.
was the third most popular captain. He was 25% captain this week. 35.8 went with this is in the top 10%, went with Cleary. 28.6 went with Turbo. So the majority captain Cleary and the majority vice captain him too by a massive margin, by 55%. So yeah, Cleary's been hot property for the last since he's come back from injury. So yeah, 25% on the Kalen Ponga move. I expect his ownership to freaking skyrocket next week. Um, and hopefully he can find a bit of form and can continue it. But yeah, Fletcher Sharp, what reason do they have to go to Marzi when he scored 4 tries? Like he's just strolling over for him. So again, it's a shame that he isn't a dual center.
Yeah.
If he was, he would be super highly owned. I don't think he would have even been a sell at one point, but unfortunately, it's not how you know the cards panned out. But either way, you take the 119 if you were desperate and you were stuck with him. Like there was a few that have been. So yeah, that's pretty good. My app has kind of just gone and shut itself, so I've lost it for a second. But let me go back. Here we are. Frizzell 83, solid with a try. Pierce Paul 63, he can't buy a try, so if he gets one, he'll actually score really well. Crossland a bit better than he did last week. Freaking the Marzi stands out like dog's balls. 37 isn't good. Brayley 27 too. So a few big scorers from last week have sort of fallen off, and you can go look at that over in the Tiger side too. Ruben Porter, Samuel Afinu, 41 and 33. Like they're not solid scores, but they had massive weeks last week, so they kind of come back crashing down. For the Tigers, there's just not a lot really happening Supercoach wise. I think it's just Galvin. They still have a bye coming up too. I think it's around 26. So yeah, head-to-head final. That's one week that you won't have any Tigers, and realistically, I don't think there's anyone that you really want to play that round besides Galvin if it comes back. So he'll do you a shift to get you to the head-to-heads, but you lose him in the big one. So um, yeah, nothing too relevant. Like there's a few good backup options. Like Finu's still a good front rower for 41. You know, there's definitely better options, but you'll take the safe play in a dual position. And Porter, ideally, Porter was most people's nuffs. That was never going to turn up again. So if he does play, it's points. But yeah, for the Knights, their run is good. We kind of knew that coming into it as well, and if they can use this game to string a few things together, it can only spell good things for Ponga. And you would have to hope just off that any Marzi owners are going to get some points out of the back of it too. It has to come. He can't just
Please.
get 37s for the rest of the year. There's no way, surely. I suppose he's done it for most of the year, but it's meant to be a turn of
And
form.
to be fair, for the price that we all pretty much got him for,
It's fine.
you'll take it. You'll go, you know what? Okay, whatever. And it
I
was
think
only
he
a
was
week where we pretty much were forced to play. Like for me, most weeks he's a question mark to play. Like I most of the time have him on the arse. So it's because I had maybe one of the Roosters guys out and stuff. But it sort of for me ended up
yeah,
being I had to play him. But most weeks it's not always a given that I play him. So for the price we got him for, it's just sort of well. Most would have Ponga as well, I guess, that combination. I didn't, so it sucks for me, but Ponga helped out a lot.
yeah. Ponga was the one that made some scores actually respectable. Like last week, you had a killer score, and I didn't
All in
at
the
all.
captaincy.
So it's all captaincy. You get that captain right, and it makes all the difference. That one trade in him captaining him got me 260 points. It's very easy to get that sort of thing wrong. So yeah, no, it's pretty solid. I take that. I'm very happy that I got him in, and just hope he can keep riding out for the rest of the year. And so does Marzu. But he's a great fifth center wing option, like you said. If he's not your main guy and you have to rely on him every week, I think he's solid. But I think Kyle Ero has promoted himself into my starting four.
Yeah.
He's always been
Beast.
there or thereabouts, but now he's an absolute lock. I start him.
Yeah.
Marzu's the
And the
one with the
Sharkies another one of those teams that have a very, very good run still on
yep.
the way home. So we might even look. I might even look at doing a post up this week, just highlighting a couple of those teams that have a really good run, and those that have a really bad run, just for the next couple of weeks, just to keep a bit of an eye on. I know I do the post every week, but some might click past it, think it's a bit too hard to read or something. But a lot going on, a lot of colours. But that's it. That's our round review, and special shout out to everyone. Obviously, as I said, it's the first week of finals, so hopefully you had a good win. Still 4 weeks left in the overalls as well, so plenty of things can happen next few weeks. We've seen this in the past. This is huge moving weeks for the next couple of weeks. If you have trades left, if you don't, things can happen. Things can happen very, very quickly in this game. I was scoring 1300s, 1400s a couple of weeks ago, and now I've got 1100. So it's a what of a game. It can be very, very harsh at times, but we push on. Well done, Jesse. We got through this tonight, and you got through a very, very good week, Supercoach wise.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, it wasn't very, very good. It was good in the sense of a draft, but I feel like I've 50-50'd everything this week. I won half of them and lost the other. So, yeah, just look on to next week. I suppose I've got a second chance in a lot of leagues now. So, yeah, now next week is the big one. Next week is do or
It's
die.
huge.
Yeah.
There'll be countless hours in front of the Supercoach screens this week. I'm telling you right now, making sure we look at everything we can possibly do. Tradies this week will be a very, very good show. I feel like there'll be a lot of things to talk about and discuss. So hopefully I can jump on for that one. If not, I know the boys are killing it at the moment. So keep supporting it, keep giving it a listen. And on that note, Sabs, you live rent free in Jesse's head once again. Good night. Thanks for listening. Hope you have a great day.